Hi everybody, Martyn at Flicking Feathers again today, and I'm tying a wee jig back bug, basically, right? Dead simple, doesn't need a name, right? It's just a wee tungsten river bug. Basically, Chris on the Patreon was asking for some patterns that you can use that are still quite wee, but there's a bit of flow and it's hard to get done, and this is one answer, especially if you're limited. Maybe you can't fish 2 flies or whatever, or 3 flies because of the rules, or you just don't want to fish a sacrificial pattern for whatever reason. Now it's going in the giveaway box, which I'm working on at the moment. See the first couple there. So these wee river bugs and dry flies. Now as always, if you want to be entered into the giveaways, you need to support the channel, and there's a link to the Patreon in the description below, along with the materials list and some other information. Alternatively, if you don't fancy that, you can like the video, share the video, watch it all the way to the end, leave a comment below. All that really helps as well. So, got my hook and my vise. This is the Jig Force Black Nickel, size 16. And I've run on some Uni 80, just olive, plain olive. And I'm going to put a wee fill and mill jig back on it. This is the, I can't remember the size of, I don't have the packet, but I'll check it and I'll put a link for you. I'm going to put it on a wee bit of super glue, right? I've parked my thread, I've run along, I've parked my thread sort of in the middle of the shank here to catch this. I'm just going to put a wee spot of super glue there, and then I'll set this on like that. I'm going to let it go slightly ahead of the hook eye, which for this size, for this hook, is fine. You don't really need to worry about crowding the eye or blocking the eye, but always leave it like that, so the eye is slightly back, away from the deepest part of the channel, and then we'll just lash over that a wee bit. Right, now these are quite slick, and you might need to wax your thread, or if you want you can put a bit more super glue, but I like to just sort of cover it up more or less, but still have an idea of where the creases are, right? Now for the tag, I'm just using, this is Glo-brite number 8, but you can obviously adjust the colour, right? So you'll actually, if you look online, you'll see a lot of similar flies to this, people tying them in different colours and giving them a name, which I think's a nonsense. They're all basically the same fly, just a different colour. If you want to change the colour of the floss, change the colour of the dubbing, like, do it. I mean, it's just really a sort of tagged hare's ear. Anyway, I've caught these 6 strands, they're brushed together, and I'm catching them in here. I'm just going to kind of come on to the start of the bend, and then I'll just keep winding until that kind of smooths out that transition and comes up and down nice, right? Easy. And then I'm going to make a loop. I'll cut one leg so that I've got my thread rib, right? I'll just come back again. Now I'm using the Nymph flash dub. For this I'm using light olive UV and brown olive UV, but as I say, any colour's fine. Black, use a sort of grey, whatever, right? Like any of these sort of natural looking colours. An olive and a kind of yellow olive would be nice as well. Your own blend. So I'm just dubbing this on fairly tight. Slide it up. Once I get it caught on, I can tighten it. come up to it. So just where the ridges start, basically, I'm just maybe covering the first ridge. And then I'm going to counter wrap it with my thread. And I've got to keep these relatively close together, right? I want to build a fairly tight abdomen, right? And the rib just tightens it up. Come across that a couple of times, and I'll fold it back, tie over it, just for security, right? It's never coming out that way. Then for the thorax, it's just a pinch of this. Very easy. And it's a very, very easy fly. It's a very quick fly to tie as well, which is great. Because, you know, these are the kind of ones that you're going to lose. Right? You know, they're heavy, they've got to drag, you've got to sometimes get them right down to the bottom and into rocks and all that. And you can, if you've a bad day, you can get through a rake of these. So it's good to get them tied up quick. So I'm just going to build a thorax, basically wee bulky thorax, covering the space of the ridges. It's fine. And that just looks, you know, like a wee bug with a wee silver bead, but it's actually the jig back. We'll whip finish once and again, right? I think 2 whip finishes are a good idea on these kind of flies, because again, they've got to come into contact with the bottom, hit the rocks. So I'm just using my thumbnail to make sure that that knot seats back on the tungsten, right? You can slide it back a wee bit and make it compact and secure. Hit that with my scissor, and then I'll trim my tag small, just a wee hot tag. Now, what I like to do is get my kind of quite a runny head cement, and I'm just going to come in and drop a blob into the channel there and onto the thread, and I'll just come round the leading edge of the thread on the tungsten. And that soaks into the thread without interfering with your dubbing. And there you go, that's it. Deadly. As I say, I mean that's what, 5 minutes, but you can tie them in 2 or 3, you know, if you're no talking or doing it, and just sit there and put a dozen of them in your box. So I hope that was useful, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, remember to give me a thumbs up below, and I'll see you for another one. Tight lines, guys. Bye.